Good morning. Good morning. Okay, now that we're all awake, welcome to the Unitarian Coastal Fellowship. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that all people have inherent worth and dignity, and that we are all part of an interdependent web of existence. We are a pluralistic faith that draws wisdom from faith traditions all over the world, as well as science and reason and direct experience. I am the interim minister here, the Reverend Micah C. Ma, and my pronouns are they, them, and theirs. With me today is Worship Associate Marilyn Cullison, Choir Director Tom Cullison, accompanist Megan Smith. Beautiful piece for gathering music this morning. Shout out to, looks like we have Dan and Karen on tech today. And a special welcome to those joining us on Zoom. Cameras back there. Give them a wave. Now, do we have any visitors in the sanctuary today? Anyone for whom it's your first time here? All right. Would you like to introduce yourselves? All right, wait for us to bring you a microphone because they can't hear you on Zoom if you don't speak into the mic. And you got to get real close to this mic, so hold it real close.
Check.
All right.
Okay. Hi, I'm John Elligate, my wife Jeannie Elligate, my stepdaughter Brittany Saplicki. We are here on behalf of Project Christmas Cheer and also to see this wonderful organization and to share in some fellowship.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. Right. Do we have any other visitors who'd like to introduce themselves? No pressure. Okay. All right, and now Board President Susan Fetzer has some announcements for us.
Good morning. All right. The Seafood Festival is this weekend, in case any of you didn't know. And we still need a couple of volunteers to sell drinks. This is a big fundraiser for our church, and it's a lot of fun. You get to know each other and meet new people, and we especially need volunteers from the 9 to 11 p.m. on Saturday shift and Sunday morning. See Joelle in Essex if you'd like to volunteer, and Joellen's right over here. We got a volunteer, yay! The first installment of our social justice film series, Wilmington on Fire, was a big success, and we're excited to announce that the second installment is The Letter, about Pope Francis's encyclical on caring for the planet. That's going to be on October 12th, that's a Thursday at 6:30, and we provide popcorn. Finally, this Wednesday we have philosophy in the afternoon, followed by a Vesper service. At 4:30, meet in the social hall to discuss philosophical questions like, what is the purpose of religion? Are humans feeling animals that think, or thinking animals that feel? Afterward, at 6, we have a quiet Vesper service of singing, silence, candle lighting, and reading. It's a midweek pause for refreshment. And now we invite everyone in the sanctuary to please silence your cell phone, and all those on Zoom to please turn off their cameras to conserve bandwidth. And now, everybody, please greet your neighbor.
Tonight will be the second night of Sukkot, which is a joyous week-long holiday when Jewish people celebrate the harvest and the miracle of God's protection when the children of Israel left Egypt. For a week, our Jewish members and siblings will commemorate this miracle by taking their meals in a temporary dwelling called a sukkah. This willingness to leave a secure home and dwell in a flimsy outdoor structure with only 3 walls demonstrates faith in their God. May we all be able to learn from this, to be able to have such faith. May we all be willing for even the space of a week or even the space of a day to leave where we are safe and comfortable and dwell in the uncomfortable in order to be closer to the sources of our faith, in order to grow closer to the divine. May we be grateful for the bounty of the harvest and the miracles that daily surround us. I invite the people to say with me, "Come, let us worship together." I invite Marilyn to help me light our flaming chalice, which is the symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalist faith.
Our chalice lighting is by theologian and physician Albert Schweitzer, and the words are from our gray hymnal, number 447. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. We also light a peace candle to remind ourselves that peace is a process that requires work, that peace is not merely an absence of conflict, but the presence of justice. And now I invite all to rise as you are willing and able for our opening hymn, number 396 in the gray hymnal, "I Know This Rose Will Open," and we'll sing it 3 times.
Actually, no.
Excuse me, no.
What we're really going to do is sing it through twice together, and then we're going to do it as a round, and we're going to split Barb and Bob right down the middle. So this side over here will start, when we start the round, we'll start it, and this side over here will follow, and we'll bring everybody in when we come. Got it? I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this. Okay, everybody together one more time. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will unfurl away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my soul will burn away. I know my soul will furl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Oh, remarkable, remarkable. I love making music together. You know, it's part of when we can create something new, a miracle, right? All right. So now that we're all in a good mood from that, I'm gonna upset some people now. Everyone ready? Okay. I'm going to ask everybody to sit somewhere different than they usually do. I know, the horror. So I do have a couple of stipulations here. Number 1 is that if you cannot easily move from your seat, You know, like you have mobility issues or a disability or something, stay where you are. Just let the room move around you, okay? The world can revolve around you today if you cannot move easily. Families should stay together. Children, please stay with at least one of your adults. All right. Everybody move around. And when the music stops, sit down wherever you are. All right. You know, this is strange for me too, because I get used to seeing people in certain places. So now the world feels a little sideways. But guess what? Everyone now has new neighbors. Are you sitting next to someone that you maybe don't know very well? You know, now's an opportunity to, introduce yourselves, get to know someone's name. You know, you can take a minute for that. You know, just say hi to the person next to you or behind you or in front of you that you don't normally sit with. All right, there we go. We're mixing it up a little bit. All good, all good. All right, and now from our new vantage point in the universe, our new perspectives, we enter into our time of joys and sorrows. Every week, we make some time to share what is on our hearts, and this helps us grow closer, not just as a community, but also to remind ourselves that we are all human, and as such, we have certain experiences as human beings, sometimes happy experiences, sometimes sad experiences. As a French philosopher once said, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And so in a moment, Megan will play some lovely music for us. And I invite everyone to line up against the far wall over there where you'll see that beautiful triptych of a watery sort of scene. And you'll come around front. And there's a bowl of shells and stones and sea glass, and you can take as many or as few represent whatever it is that's on your heart, and leave them in our beautiful glass chalice of water. If you have a personal joy or sorrow that you would like to share with the community, that you would like me to read out loud, then we have some paper there where you can write down your joy or sorrow, place it in the basket, and I will read it out loud for the congregation. stone is for Sarah Sutherland's daughter, Jill Sutherland, who had surgery on Thursday and will be 2 to 4 weeks in recovery. We hold her and their family in our hearts. Caroline Dominguez would like to share a joy that she will be cooking at the Seafood Festival this year under the tent. She says, "Wish me luck." Christoph and Sherry Heinz share, "We have bought a new home in Vanceboro. Way cool." And finally, there are cards available for signing in the social hall for our members who are in the hospital or in rehab or in recovery or recovering at home. These cards are for Mary Anna Newman, Linda Rudd, and Tom Wentworth, and Pat White. And those cards will be in the social hall available for signing after the service. I invite everyone to please join me in the spirit of prayer. Oh, to that great spirit in the universe, that spark of the divine which inhabits all things that fly and creep and swim and breathe and long. To that great spirit of the universe, we are so full of wishes. Wishes for swift and speedy moves, wishes for good luck under a big tent, wishes for those recovering at home or in the hospital or in rehab from surgery or illness. Wishes for all things to go well. Wishes for those who are flooded in New York, and wishes for those who are hungry, and wishes for those who are cold. So many wishes. And it is because we are a people, we are creatures that love. We love the world so much that we want for all beings to be well, for all beings to be safe, for all beings to be healthy, for all beings to thrive. And so whatever is required for that to happen, we want that to happen. For ourselves, for each other, for all the world, people we know and people we don't know, we wish for all beings to be well. May you be well. May you be safe. May all be healed. May all be whole. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. And now we sing our little ones out to activities in the next building with the blessing song. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what you do, what you know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty you love be what we do, and you don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what I do, what I know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty I love be what I do, and I don't have to do it alone. It's a blessing we were born, and it matters what we do, what we know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and we don't have to do it alone. Cha-cha-cha. It's an optional cha-cha-cha. Right, and now I invite everyone into a moment of silent contemplation. You can just take a deep breath, let it out, and just sit in silence, or almost silence, as you can manage.
Walking clubs are taking off, and it's not just the exercise.
You're connecting with someone, which is something that I was kind of missing.
More and more people are missing that connection and are feeling lonely.
The pandemic poured fuel on a fire that was already burning.
Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, says loneliness is an epidemic, the focus of an 80-page advisory he is releasing today.
We're used to thinking about smoking and obesity as clear public health concerns.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
Yeah, in terms of the risk that it poses for premature death, yes.
Half of U.S. adults experience measurable loneliness, and it's greater among young adults.
When you struggle with loneliness, when you're socially disconnected, it increases your risk of depression and anxiety and suicide, but it also increases your risk of physical illness as well.
Loneliness increases the risk for heart disease, stroke, and among older adults, dementia. The cure, Dr. Murthy says, is not only personal change, but societal change as well.
What we need to do is actually rebuild social infrastructure in our country.
You're talking about changing the social fabric. That's been decades in the making.
It's been decades in the making, but it's also something that I'm confident that we can address if we put our mind to it and if we act together.
Among his recommendations, a focus on community organizations, mobilizing the health sector to raise awareness, and reconsidering how we use technology.
In-person matters. Connecting online has its place, has its value, but it's not a substitute for in-person connection. We really do need both.
Cultivating and supporting time together, face-to-face, because our health depends on it. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Just about everybody. Because all of us have been lonely at some time or other. It seems to be part of the human condition. We are social animals. Thousands and thousands of years ago, our ancestors lived in clans or in tribes, and there was always the expectation that someone else was going to be around. That was how we survived as a species. And so it's still wired in us today. And has anyone here ever felt lonely in a crowd? Like there's lots of people around, but you still feel separate or cut off from people somehow. We are, statistically, spending more time alone and less time with friends than we did 20 or 30 years ago. The Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, that was the guy from the video just now, released an actually surprisingly interesting advisory earlier this year that had a lot of statistics in it. You can read the whole thing online. It's very interesting. I'm sharing only a few things from that advisory in my talk today. So be prepared for a deluge of statistics. Let them wash over you. This is not a TED Talk. I did not prepare charts and graphs. So we do spend more time alone now than we did in 2003, approximately 24 hours more a month. In 1990, 27% of respondents said that they had 3 or fewer close friends, In 2021, 50% of Americans said that they had 3 or fewer close friends. So more of us have fewer close friends than we did 20 or 30 years ago. As Dr. Murthy said, young adults between the ages of 18 to 25 are feeling the hardest hit. They went from spending an average of 150 minutes a day with close friends in 1990 to spending only 40 minutes a day with close friends in 2020. More Americans are also living alone. In 1960, only 13% of U.S. households were single adults, and in 2022, it was almost 30%. So that's twice as many as before. Fewer and fewer people belong to voluntary organizations such as churches, service clubs such as the Lions Club and Rotary International, and labor unions. So we can take church attendance as an example. 70% of people went to church in 1999, which, believe it or not, was a long time ago now. And now less than 50% of people say they do. So that's a pretty big drop. People are also changing jobs much more often. Millennials, that's me, are known as the quote-unquote job hopping generation, changing jobs an average of 4 times before they turn 32. We'll see whether Gen Z follows in our footsteps. Thank you. People are also having smaller families, and in 2018, only 16% of Americans reported feeling attached to their local community. You know, feeling part of their local community in some way, feeling connected, feeling rooted in their community. Only 16%. So you may think that it's the pandemic that caused all of this, but these trends were underway well before the pandemic. Robert Putnam published a book in 2001. 2001. How long ago was 2001? 22 years. Very long time ago. This book was titled Bowling Alone, The Collapse and Revival of American Community. And the title came from Putnam's observation that bowling leagues seem to have become a thing of the past. First of all, do people still bowl? Is that still a thing? Yeah, people still bowl? Okay. Does anyone belong to a bowling league? Are those still a thing? No, I'm seeing some head shaking, some shrugs. Yeah, I mean, where's there a bowling alley around here? Cape Carteret? Oh, Cape Carteret has a bowling alley. Okay. Are there any bowling leagues that meet there? Does anybody know? We don't know. Unclear. So if people go bowling now in Cape Carteret, apparently, they go bowling alone rather than in a group. And with that, there is a loss. There is a loss of community, camaraderie, conversation, civic engagement, other words that start with C. And there's more that's lost when we don't spend time together. The reason this is an advisory from the Surgeon General is like the top doc, right, is because Dr. Murthy views this as a public health crisis. The mortality impact, it was in the video as well, of being socially disconnected is similar to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. How many cigarettes are in a pack? Does anybody know? 20. So that's almost a pack of cigarettes a day. Being socially disconnected comes with greater risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, stroke, depression, and premature death. Being socially disconnected might be worse for us than obesity and physical inactivity. But besides being a public health crisis, a crisis for our physical health, isolation is dangerous for our social fabric. Because if you spend a lot of time by yourself, it becomes easy to believe that everybody's out to get me, people aren't trustworthy, nobody cares about me. How does that song go? Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms. You guys know that song? Yeah. But when we spend more time with people, when we learn to see each other as people, when we help each other, we learn to trust each other. Even people we don't agree with. Spend some time with them, talk to them. And even if you don't agree with them, you can see, we might not agree on some things, but we agree on other things, and we're still neighbors, and we still look out for each other. Spending more time with people, getting to know people, helps us build empathy, helps us understand each other. And building empathy for and with one another, helping us understand each other, helps us build bridges toward one another. It's what makes us interested in getting along. It's what makes us into a community and not just a bunch of individuals who happen to live around each other, right? A good example of this, I think, is the internet, especially Facebook. How many of y'all have been on Facebook in the last month? Okay, how many of y'all saw like an argument on Facebook in the last month? That was probably all the same people. Because it is very easy to go on Facebook and type a comment to somebody saying that they're stupid and their face is stupid and their opinions are stupid. But it's not so easy to say that to someone's face, right? I mean, people would say that online to each other, to people that they don't know, but they wouldn't say that to each other's face necessarily. Now, it is tempting to blame technology for all of our problems today and say, oh, social media this and television that. And, you know, I can't say that. I think that technology is a wonderful thing that has helped us so much. Hello, Zoomland, right? Did you have fun watching everybody play musical chairs earlier? I hope so. You know, at the beginning of the pandemic, I kept thinking about the people who lived through the flu pandemic of 1917, and I was like, man, how did they do that? They didn't have television, they didn't have internet. I don't think they even really had the telephone. I don't know if telephones were as widely available in 1917, right? So I have no idea how they got through that. The internet has introduced me to some of my best friends. It helps me keep in touch with those friends. Even now, we live all over the country. Technology allows my family to communicate with each other halfway around the world. I remember when I was little and my auntie lived in the same house as me, and she would write those airmail letters with those envelopes that had like the blue and red border. Some people are old enough to remember those. And there was like this really thin paper that went in the envelopes, and now I can talk to my auntie with this, you know, whenever I want. I mean, not whenever I want, because there's like a 12-hour difference, time zone difference between us. And you know, it's also not a substitute for spending time with my auntie in person, right? Like this is not the same as being in the same room with her, being able to talk to her, being able to hold her hand. You know, Zoom church was not the same as in-person church, right? We missed each other. We missed the informal coffee hour conversations. We missed holding hands at the end of the service. We missed singing together. So here is what technology does for us. Technology can give each of us an individualized experience. I can pick up my phone and I can look at my own TikTok feed, and my own TikTok feed gives me videos that I want to see. TikTok knows what I like. It knows I like funny videos of dogs and cats and stuff. And if something comes up on TikTok that I don't like, which is rare because the TikTok algorithm is extremely powerful, I can just swipe it away. I don't have to look at it, don't have to engage with it, just like, it's gone. And I can enjoy TikTok in the comfort of my own home. I can be lying on the couch, don't have to talk to anybody, don't have to engage with anybody. You know, same thing with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, watching Netflix. I can do that all right here by myself in the comfort of my own home. It's very easy. It's like having cereal for dinner. Technology gives us individualized experiences, which we love, because being in community is hard. Being in community is uncomfortable. If you were to say join a bowling league, which apparently don't exist anymore, but let's say that you did, and you went and you joined your local bowling league and you went bowling together, you might have to have a conversation about politics with someone with whom you don't agree. If you go to church, you might have to talk to someone who's from a background who's different from yours, who might disagree about something that's happening at church. If you volunteer for the highway cleanup with the Lions Club, has that happened yet? Oh, it happened already. Sorry. If you volunteer for the highway cleanup with the Lions Club, you might find yourself working side by side with someone whose religion is different from yours. Loneliness, being by yourself, is in some ways very comfortable. Because when you are alone, you are perfectly free. You can wear whatever you want, you can eat whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to think about anyone else except yourself. When you're alone, you can be perfectly selfish. So when we have the option of either being alone or hanging out with people that we don't know, where we might be uncomfortable, it gets pretty tempting to choose being alone. Hey, I have TikTok. If we have the option of being alone or hanging out with people that we know we already agree with on every single thing, well, that's easy, right? Hanging out with people with whom we already agree. We would choose that over hanging out with people that we don't know who we might disagree with. So we choose to be alone or to hang out with people with whom we already agree. I get this endless TikTok stream of videos that confirm what I already believe to be true about the world. And we get used to it. And when we get used to it, we forget to have empathy for each other, because none of us actually really has to talk to anybody from, quote unquote, the other side. It's easy to believe the worst of someone you've never met and imagine that you will never meet. It's easy to believe the worst of Chinese people when you've never met someone from China. It's easy to believe the worst of a gun rights activist if you've never met a gun rights activist. It's easy to believe the worst of trans people when you've never met a trans person. And so that's where we are now, people sitting at two extremes, yelling at each other on the internet, each one accusing the other side of being deranged and dangerous. This is the outcome, I think, of too much time alone. It's the outcome of being isolated. So we're each smoking almost a pack of cigarettes a day, yelling at each other on the internet and believing the worst of each other. It's making us sick. We are already sick in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts. Now you're sitting there going man, Reverend Micah, this is pretty depressing. I didn't come to church to be depressed. Okay, so what do we do about it? I think that this is a spiritual crisis. We are a nation that is in spiritual crisis. This is a crisis of faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in each other, faith that we, as a nation, as a people, as a world community even, are better together than we are apart. As people of faith ourselves, we must attend to this crisis. We may not know yet how to be part of infrastructural solutions. Dr. Murthy was talking in that video about, the whole social fabric, right? Redoing the whole social fabric. But we can be part of smaller, maybe more individual solutions. We can reach out to each other. That thing maybe where you see someone you haven't seen in a while and you go oh yeah, we should get dinner and catch up sometime. Yeah, we should do that. And then you don't actually make plans for dinner. You just kind of move on. Come on, who does that? We all do it, right? Make a commitment to actually get coffee, go out for lunch or dinner, go for a walk, something, even just a phone call. Don't just say yeah, we should get dinner sometime, and then don't do it. They have a name for that in Seattle, apparently. They call it the Seattle freeze. It's when you just freeze people out of your life, apparently. Make concrete plans, actually get it on the calendar. Or maybe there's someone that you haven't seen in a while. You think about them every so often, maybe when you're brushing your teeth or you're in the car, or you're at church and you're gosh, we haven't seen so-and-so for a while. Contact them. Send a text, email, phone call, smoke signals, carrier pigeon, whatever means that you have of communicating with that person that you haven't seen in a while, do it. Just do it. Take 15 minutes. If everyone spent 15 minutes a day, just 15 minutes, making contact with someone that you do not already live with, how different might your life look? How different might your community look? Just 15 minutes. You could save a life. Maybe the life you save will be your own. And if you know someone you suspect may be lonely, someone that you know lives alone, someone that you suspect may be in need of a community, invite them to stuff. We have lots of stuff that happens here. This isn't just a plug for church, although it could be. You don't have to invite people to Sunday morning worship if they'd rather sleep in or whatever, but we have philosophy in the afternoon this Wednesday, 4:30, right? we have like these different topics. We've written these different like philosophical questions, questions about like if God is all powerful and all knowing and all whatever, can God make a boulder that God cannot lift? Those kinds of questions. And we put them in like a jar or a hat or something, and then we pull them out and then we discuss them. And if we run, and if there's more time, we do that multiple times. It's philosophy in the afternoon, and afterwards, nice little evening worship service. Or we have game night on second Fridays. Social justice film series was also announced this morning, The Letter, playing on October 12th. We have a million events going on here. And there's lots of events going on in town, too. I'm always reading about events in the paper that I didn't even know about. And I'm like, oh gosh, wish I'd known about that. But we love getting to know people here, even people different from us, because that is what we are all about. Building beloved community. And beloved community will not be built by individuals floating on individual little islands. Beloved community will be built by people of all kinds working together. But guys, I gotta tell you, nobody is coming to save us. We must save ourselves. May it be so. All right, we have a song coming up. Everybody ready? It's 10:53 in the Teal Hymnal. How could anyone? Stay seated. Stay seated for this one. Okay, I'm gonna ask you all to do something a little woo. Okay, you ready to do something a little woo, a little uncomfortable? Okay, so we're gonna sing this 3 times. But the first time, we're just going to sing it through to like learn it. The words are going to be up here. The words are already up here. Okay, we're going to sing it through one time just to like sort of learn it, okay? Then the second time we sing it, I want you to sing it to yourself. Okay, sing the words to yourself and really mean them. And then the third time we sing it, this is the uncomfortable part, I want you to sing it to someone else in the room. Could be someone sitting in front of you, someone sitting behind you, someone sitting next to you. Sing it to someone else in the room, okay? And you might feel a little goofy about it might be a little scary. You don't have to make eye contact. You can sing it to their ear or something if that helps, okay? But you're going to sing it to someone else in the room. So first, we're going to sing it just to learn it. Then you're going to sing it to yourself. Then you're going to sing it to someone else in the room. Everybody got it? All right.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone ever tell us that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
chaos. It still works. The Unitarian Coastal Fellowship shares the plate, and half our offerings we share with local charities. In September and October, we are sharing the plate with a number of holiday giving projects and traditions, all of which involve giving to those who are often forgotten and left behind around winter holidays. One of those groups are children and families who may be unhoused or who may lack sufficient means. We can be a Christmas miracle to these children and families. Brittany, is that right? Is here from Project Christmas Cheer, which we have participated in for many years now, to tell us about what our generosity does for others. And Brittany is going to talk to us. Come on up. Just that.
Yeah, pretty short. All right, so first off, thank you for your time and your space this morning. And from what I understand, you all might be familiar with Project Christmas Cheer from participating with us in years before. So to introduce myself, my name is Brittany. I run and direct the Angel Tree, and I'm going to use the words Angel Tree and Project Christmas Cheer kind of interchangeably in this conversation. But I direct the Angel Tree over at the Sports Center of Moorhead location, which I think is that way, but I'm kind of bad at directions, so maybe not. So to give a synopsis of what we do, we work with the organization Project Christmas Cheer, who accepts applications from families who are in need of a little bit of assistance for Christmas. And the primary focus is on children from 0 to 18 years old, and they collect Christmas wish lists from these children. So parents will come in and they will have the wish list for their children, which then gets passed along to us over at the Sports Center of Moorhead and a couple other locations throughout the county. So these are all children within the county. They get passed to us, in which we take that wish list and we hang them on our tree to be adopted out through community members. This organization is a little bit different than ones I have encountered in the past, as the kind of goal of this organization is to provide the entire Christmas for these families, right? So when you adopt an angel from us, you get the child's name, age, sizes, and an entire wish list. And for the most part, what comes back to us at the Sports Center is wrapped gifts that fulfill these children's entire wish list, right? So this takes one large thing off the plate of families for that Christmas season. So when you all have adopted angels, that's what you've seen, right? You've adopted, you've shopped for Christmas, and you've brought them back to us. We gather them all together and make sure they go to the correct families. So I was asked to bring a story of one that impacted me or that was memorable, and that is kind of challenging. We adopt out 200 to 250 angels a year, or children a year, out of our Sports Center location, and Project Christmas Cheer itself has over 700 applications that they adopt out. But there is one story, and it was actually from the first year that I ran this, I think 4 years ago. And it was on the last application day, and this is a day I don't anticipate getting a lot of angels to hang out. It's usually the middle of December. Everybody that knows about the organization and needed help has already put in their applications. But we got a couple, and I hung them on the tree as always, and slowly but surely they got adopted out. And now we're pretty close to Christmas at this point when the gifts are coming back, right? December 19th, 20th. And so all of the gifts came back, and we had one family left that I was putting together. And it was, from what I could glean, a single mom with 2 young children. So we got the gifts back, and I called her, as always, and she came in that day, and I happened to still be there. So I went upstairs, and I gathered her gifts, and I brought them back down, and her face just went white and blank, and she said, "Somebody did this for me?" And I paused, and I gave her the same explanation I just gave to you about these are just community members that reach out, and everybody has a lot of fun doing it. I know we have a lot of fun over at the Sports Center with this. And I gave her that rundown, and at this point, she was crying, and she gave me a little background, and she said, "I had never heard of this organization, and I had never needed it before, but I just escaped a domestic situation, and my family just secured housing, and so we have nothing for Christmas." She said, "We don't have a tree, and we don't have ornaments, and we don't have anything." And so with the gifts that were provided from community members, right, gave her a little bit of hope for the season and gave her children something to wake up to on Christmas morning. So thank you for your time, and thank you for all you have done to help us.
Thank you, Brittany. That was beautiful. Please give generously so that we as a congregation can be generous to others. I invite the greeters forward to collect today's offering. Please join us in blessing this offering with hymn number 402, From You I Receive, and we'll sing it twice. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. And before Reverend Mike and I extinguish the chalice and we read our words, we have a special treat today. We are going to have an afterwards. Perhaps this topic of loneliness interests you and you'd like to discuss it further, and we would be glad to do that. So we'll ring a little bell and we'll meet down here after we all enjoy a feast from Sunday Fun Day. So please join me in reading the words on the screen, and we'll extinguish our flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And in Español. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de verdad, el calor de comunidad, o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevamos en el corazón, hasta que estemos otra vez. And now we invite people to rise as they are willing or able for our closing hymn, number 346. There's a little typo in the gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and of shivers in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
All right, friends, it is our tradition in this congregation that we hold hands for the benediction. So if you are uncomfortable holding hands, that is fine. You can move to the center of whatever interesting blog that we are making, and just make it clear that you don't want to hold hands. It's okay, we're just going to be facing off to the right. All right. This is fine. This is fine. Okay, we've made like an interesting amoeba shape. That's good. All right, friends. No one is coming to save us. But the good news is that we are capable and we will save ourselves. So go forth